How do Christian extremists justify violence? In most religions on Earth, violence is something that is strictly forbidden, or at least limited in some capacity. And yet, so many have members who commit violence in its name, including Christianity. Despite "thou shalt not kill" unjustifiably in the Ten Commandments being quite straightforward, many Christian extremists do so anyway. To be clear, I am referring to extremist groups and their ideologies, not the average Christian, who I believe should not be categorized alongside violent extremists. Modern Christian extremism has justified violence in a multitude of ways, though not every individual or group thinks and acts the same. But generally, in the Western world and specifically the United States, Christian extremists interpret and reinterpret religious scripture to oppose abortion, ethnic minorities, and the LGBTQ, claiming they are enemies to the will of God, which in turn justifies violence. Abortion, for instance, has been the target of violence from Christian extremists for decades. For example, Reverend Michael Bray of the terrorist organization Army of God considers abortion an unforgivable murder of the unborn, the fight to stop it being a holy one. Therefore, according to him, people who enable abortion, like the government and doctors, are justifiable to kill in order to stop this mass murder. Bray has thus continuously promoted violence, applauding the murder of abortion doctor George Tiller in 2009, saying it saved real lives. Discrimination against LGBTQ people also follows this idea. Christian extremists have long interpreted the religious scripture as being opposed to homosexual and transgender self-conception, which they claim are unholy. For example, Eric Rudolph, aligned with the extremist group Christian Identity in the 1990s, bombed abortion clinics, a lesbian bar, and an event at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. His justification for this was that secular authorities in the US had promoted atheistic internationalism, or non-traditional gender and sexual norms, which corrupted society and threatened Christianity, violence being necessary to resist. Christian extremists also follow a similar ideology regarding ethnic minorities. Christian nationalism has long been intertwined with Western imperialism such as Manifest Destiny, the American justification for the conquest of native tribes on the continent. This has remained prominent over time, with Christian extremists like those of Christian Identity believing that biblical law only allowed white people to be redeemed through Christ. Though the specific beliefs of these extremists may differ, the common baseline is that American whites are fighting in God's name against non-whites, and that they should stop at nothing to defeat these enemies, including dehumanizing and killing them. You see, Christian extremists commonly believe that they are in a constant fight against evil. They think that God is judging them, and that they can't allow what they perceive as his teachings to be removed from society by an evil enemy. Who this enemy isn't fully clear, but as we've already established, it can be a variety of groups, including broad terms like elites. They argue that this enemy is well organized and hidden, justifying any violent action done to uncover them, while any retaliation is evidence of persecution. Michael Bray calls this the culture war in modern society, or a cosmic war, a battle between the metaphysical forces of good and evil, essentially God versus Satan. Overall, violence by Christian extremists, despite the words of the Ten Commandments, is justified through various means, notably defeating God's enemies in a cosmic war.